all stories begin somewhere. Welcome to another episode of Coruscant Nights. Today I am joined by AJ. How's
Hello.
it going, AJ?
Things are going well.
Good. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself or who you're playing?
I am playing Mir today. Mir is he's a shard. You can go onto your Wikipedia and look up what that species is. It's inorganic. Yeah, and so, I'm playing Mir. We kind of came upon him because we were talking on Discord about next time we want to play a droid, we would want to have a secret.
Yeah.
Right? So,
Yeah.
and me being an enabler had to, help you out with that, you know, and I've loved, the concept that we kind of came up together on this.
And Mir is not really new. You've played with this character before, sometime in the future.
Yeah, post Empire, we have a little play by post on the side, and so we've played, and he goes by a different name later.
And I've sort of talked about how that play-by-post unintentionally became the sort of pregame for this season 2. So a lot of the factors from that are finding themselves in season 2 of Coruscant Nights.
Which is just amazing, which I just love.
Cool. Well, we have to start this off the right way. You want to roll your force die to see what our destiny pool looks like?
Do I get one per force die or one per me?
Just one. One per human.
Ooh, one black pip.
All right, and I got one light.
Balance.
So we're starting out with a black and a light. And you have a friend named Greg, right?
I do. Good old Muto man.
Greg donated for Destiny.
Oh, Greg, you're such a great guy.
Yeah. Not only did he donate for Destiny, but he really donated for Destiny.
Yeah, he did.
So what we're going to end up doing is we're going to put 4 more tokens in our pool.
Dang.
And they're all going to be dark.
Oh, thanks, Greg. Oh.
It's okay. I'll use them, and then you can have some light side points.
Yeah. If I could take a moment, I just want to talk about how amazing Greg is. Not to puff him up or to take away from his donation, but Greg has been a great father figure to me and to many other young men when I was younger, growing up, taking young men into his home, raising them to be men, showing them what a loving marriage relationship looks like, teaching them how to fish and hunt and respect and just what it means to have a father, period. And he's able to do that through his work now. Muto man, I love you. You're amazing, and we're all very thankful for having you in our lives.
That's great. His message to read on the show was more of a thanks to me for doing Donate for Destiny, but I want to extend that thanks to everybody who's participated so far and all the different shows participating, in particular Dicey Cantina, who's doing fantastic with getting donations. So thanks to everybody.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Oh, and I think currently, as of this recording, we're winning, though it's not a competition. But
it is a competition.
But it is a competition.
Everything is.
Thanks for helping us win, Greg.
All right. So where do we find Mir?
I think we're going to meet him on a hill, on a mountain top, on a kind of a wrecked planet known as Danthamir, with wind blowing and with rocks being sculpted and stacked.
So Dathomir is this sort of dark planet. It's got red atmosphere and red oceans. And so the place that Mir finds himself is sort of dark, and there are a few dark dead trees sprouting up around the hillside. What is he doing? He's sculpting. What is he making things?
Yeah, he is. He's manipulating like the iron in the rocks and the rusty rocks. I think he's building himself his own little colony, so to speak. I think he's up top there. He's away from everybody, and yet he wishes that he had people with him. And so I think he's bringing rocks up and shaping them into faces, into different visages and stuff like that.
And what does Mir look like?
Mir is a crystal. He is I think he's a green. No, he's a maroon. He's a deep maroon crystal. He's got green lines running through him, and a little bit of mist forms out of him every once in a while. I think that he's seen and interacted with some of the local bipeds, inhabitants of the world, and so I think he sees them as having a certain bit of, the organics that they have a mobility that he doesn't have, and so I think he longs for something new. There's a curiosity, there's an obsession there that he wants to be more than he is.
Okay, so we see Mir, this, maybe about 6 inches, 9 inches tall?
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Crystal on the hillside, and stones are just sort of moving themselves around this stone. Let's have the first check of the game be a vigilance check.
A vigilance check. Versus?
Average, 2 purples.
All right, we got 2 greens, 2 purples. Ooh, survey says 1 advantage.
1 advantage.
That's, yeah.
So he does not hear the person approaching. But we, as the audience, we hear footsteps crunching on the gravel of this mountainside. And we see a pair of boots. And the camera pans up to show us a man, probably in his early 40s, walking up this hill towards Mir. And we see he's got his eyes closed. He stops for a second, and he opens them and looks around. And he looks at Mir and starts approaching the shard. And he says, what's his voice?
Do you got a jolly old man? Or who? Remember the guy off Mythbusters, the one with the mustache?
Yeah.
Ward, I was thinking this guy would have one of those, not necessarily the southern, but
might be like just a little southern in there. Maybe he's from
southern Coruscant.
He's from Bava, actually, and we know that people native to Bava sometimes have southern accents. So he says, "Hello there."
Hello. Hi. You snuck up on me. Hello. Wow.
I haven't seen someone like you before. Well, to be honest, I have. This is something. Would you mind if I sit down with you for a minute?
Sit, talk, converse. Let's go.
He walks up and sits cross-legged across from Mir.
Does he sit on a rock?
I think he sits right on the ground.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. What are you doing here?
I am building. I'm sculpting. Friends.
That's interesting.
Would you like to see more? See? More? Build?
Please, yeah. Show me what you can do.
You want me to roll some force die to see?
Yeah, I think that could be interesting. Yeah.
All right.
Force rating 2, is that right?
That is right. I have 2 light side, 1 dark side.
Okay.
Wow, that's able to power quite a bit of move.
It is.
I think what he will do is, I think he'll create or pull up a bunch of rocks that are in the shape of this guy sitting next to him.
So you pull these rocks up out of the ground, and little stones fall to the ground and clatter down the hill, but what remains is the shape of this man. Do you make it sort of feign walking?
Yes, absolutely. He would, he has enough force there that he would have it almost like a dust cloud of him walking up and sitting down.
I think it's also what Mir thinks is walking, so it's a little bit awkward.
Oh, totally.
He doesn't do it himself. Yeah.
It would be this janky, totally, like way over steps and dipping and clattering and stuff like that.
And this man just sort of chuckles That's pretty impressive there.
Thank you. Impressive. Happy brother.
Do you have brothers, sisters? Don't see too many of your kind outside their clusters.
He turns a little bit greener, almost like a little extra sparks come out when he starts talking about others of his sort, and he lets out a little bit of with a little bit of fear and almost rebellion of yes, brother, ancient castaway, mean rebellion.
Well, are you looking to join up? You see, I found you. I don't find many people. You understand? Well, but I can get you off this rock if you want, and maybe teach you to walk. Maybe a little bit better than that.
Yes.
That thing you just showed me.
Now go, please. Freedom.
Yeah. Do you mind if any sort of reaches towards Mir? Do you mind if I pick you up?
He stops for a second, and he'll lift himself up via the force, or like a geode would come out from underneath him.
So he sort of puts himself on a basically a floating platform.
Yeah, like a Magneto.
Yeah.
Like Magneto would do. Yeah, and he.
That's a neat trick. I haven't seen that one before. He sort of reaches back.
Mobility, movement. Let's go.
Follow me. And he starts walking down the side of this hill into the mists and forests.
Yeah, I like that.
Let's jump ahead. We see this man, who you now know as Farvo, in the cockpit of his vessel. What kind of ship do you think he would have?
I imagine since he's kind of an older guy that he's got this knack for like old hot rods and stuff. And so I was thinking it'd be one of those older ships. I imagine if he would be a modern day guy that would have one of the classic, big Impalas or something like that would be done up. So I can imagine it's a much older ship. So
if he's into hot rods, it's probably Carillion.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we all know that older Carillions had a little more sleekness to them,
And he has not told Mir very much about himself, but he has told him that he has to pick up one more person, and then their crew will be complete. What is Mir looking like? It's probably been a week since the two met on the mountainside.
Mir would be, I imagine right off the top, he would work on fusing himself with some technology. So I could see him floating around with like one of the hover remotes, like Luke Skywalker had, and maybe on one of those, and maybe he's working on himself a way to walk, a chassis of sorts.
Okay, so in the cockpit of this ship, we see Farvo as the blue light of hyperspace sort of shines on his face. He's flicking some toggles and turning some dials, and you're pretty close to your destination. Further back in the ship, Mir is back there tinkering with a chassis. So he's sort of floating around, and
he's stationed and mobile. Wires and nuts and bolts are being bent and moved and assembled and fused into certain parts of his body. Pieces and parts are moving around, and wires are connecting into other places. Yeah, as if he has control of it through the Force. Farvo's got a nice array of tools that it's the sort of the standard stuff for fixing a ship, but Mir has a thing for tools. Yeah, he does. If there's a tool that he wants, I think he's one of those guys that would modify a tool to make it fit the way he wants. I imagine Farvo and him would work on the big ship together, start discussing how to fine-tune things. I think that's part of why Mir is good at fixing vehicles and starships and stuff like that.
And you hear Farvo over the comms. Got about a minute before we're gonna come out of hyperspace. Just wanted to prepare you. We're gonna be coming down pretty soon. This planet's pretty friendly. We're far enough away from that whole mess on Naboo that the Trade Federation's not going to bother us here. Now, we've got a little bit of a journey ahead of us. I don't know if you need to do anything to prepare for that, but you got about an hour before we need to head out.
Okay. Copy, correct? Copy? Is that the right terminology?
Copy works.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Copy. Mir copies. I figure by now he's got a voice modulator of some sort. But one thing he loves is, or is fascinated by, is hyperspace. There's something magical about being out in hyperspace. So I imagine that transition, as we all love it, in all Star Wars, is he loves watching the transition between hyperspace and back to regular space. And so I imagine he would be at a view or a window, or if he had to make his way up to the cockpit, he would join them.
Yeah, he'd probably either want to zip up to the cockpit or up to one of the turrets.
Oh yeah, the turret.
What's a good Corellian ship without a couple turrets?
Oh yeah, it's got to have something. Yeah, so he would zip up. I imagine he's closer to a turret than he would be up. Well, it's Corellian, so they're very uniform. Anyhow, we'll go up to a turret for sure.
Yeah, and so this would be his first time in hyperspace too.
Oh yeah,
everything is a new experience right now for Mir, and the blue streaks sort of solidify and shrink down to streaks of white lines, which then solidify and shrink down to the dots of stars as this freighter leaves hyperspace. And so he's got his previous experience with the stars was just looking up to the night sky, and now it's all around. And in addition to the stars, there is a sort of green and gold and blue planet just far enough away that it's going to take a little bit to get there. But this would be his second planet he's ever seen from space.
Oh man, he playing Mir for so long. He is not one to not talk.
That's true.
So I could just, he will be on the comms, but there would be this. He would just say emotions. I figure right now he's in that transition between his shardness and communicating the way everybody else does.
Yeah.
A shard communicates emotion and thought when they do their sparks and to each other. So I imagine it's like a, wow, wonder. Captain, is it always this amazing? Is it always this stunning, this beautiful? What planet is this? Is this full of life? Is it going to be like my planet? Is it going to be like scary? Is it going to be full of rancors and witches and thorns?
That's a lot of questions there, kid. First one, it is always magical. There's thousands of planets, millions of planets in this galaxy, and each one is its own special gem in the sky. This one, I don't know if you can feel that, but it is full of life. Wow. It's pretty different than where you come from, though.
Yeah, he I think he would have been like, he was so focused on at this task at hand of building stuff, he forgot to look forward and see what beheld him. So he's kind of rambunctious like that, or like he has powers, but he doesn't. He gets obsessed with certain stuff, so he forgets like, oh, I should have meditated there and seen what, maybe saw what the future is. But at this point, he's like, I want out.
Yeah. Do you think Farvo hasn't told you too much about himself, but he may have talked about the Force, which may have been Mir's first experience hearing the word the Force and sort of equating that with the things that he can do.
Yeah, and it's kind of a contrast, I think, between how he views it and how Mir was brought up using it. I think they're on Danthamir, they're very much, well, it's got a special something in its core, but at the same time, the witches almost seem to take the Force, if I remember right, Danthamir is more seeped in the dark side of the Force than other places.
Yeah.
And I can see that especially with him and Danthamir wanting, because it's full of ruins. And so at one point, I think in his mind, it would be, there was a creator creating these things. Why are we just taking all the time? Why aren't we creating anything other than power structures against each other? So I think there's that part of wanting to be a creator, wanting to help and build stuff, not just take. And I think that could be why he's such a, why he's a little bit rebellious compared to other people in his cluster.
So Farvo notices that Mir has been quiet for a couple seconds, probably off in his own thoughts. This planet's it's called Dantooine. It's a lot more alive than the place that you came from. We're going to see lots of grasses and animals, and not all those animals eat people.
Oh, thank goodness.
And the people here are a little bit more varied. You might experience some people that you consider look a little bit odd. Just don't say anything about it.
Like horns? I've seen people with horns.
Horns, head tails, respirators, people that are partially droid. There's just going to be quite a few different kinds of people here, and I wouldn't want you embarrassing yourself, or me for that matter.
I will do my best to fit in with everybody. Don't want us to stand out any farther than we already will.
And if you've got that covering worked out,
yeah.
For the same reasons, you might want to cover your crystal self. People might not understand.
But I went through the sonic cleaner. I'm shiny. I finally have that film off from the Rancor that I got digested through. I feel like a whole new crystal.
See, I understand that, but I'm not sure everybody else will. And I don't know if they're ready to see the real Mir yet.
Well, I feel like I am like a brand new swoop, but if you feel that I should cover up, I suppose I will. I would have paid more attention to and ran my covering through the sonic cleaner and maybe put a new paint job like the swoop over there that you have done, the red one, which is really nice. It looks like it goes extra fast.
Once we're out of the city, you can uncover again. I don't know how things are for you, but the fresh air, these cool breezes here, they'll be nice.
Are there mountains?
There are, and that's actually where we're headed.
Oh, good. I love the mountains.
As the two of you talk, the planet looms larger and larger in the viewport you're looking through. And Farvo takes the ship into the atmosphere. As it gets closer to the ground, you see fields and plains full of tall grass. And he brings it low, and there are animals here, and they're just sort of grazing and eating the grass and not eating each other, which is a unique experience.
So strange.
And he ends up piloting the ship towards a large cluster of buildings. It's a city. It's sort of, it looks like it's almost built on a hill. The buildings in the center of it are taller, and it sort of goes in tiers towards the outer buildings. And Farvo calls back, "This here's the city of Banir. It's a big trading hub here on Dantooine. We're gonna take that swoop out for a ride."
Oh, that's gonna be great. That way you can teach me how to drive it. I'd really like to drive. I bet I could drive fast.
Sure, I bet you could too. He brings the ship into the spaceport, as it lands, you can see the arches along the outside of this ring that you're landing in. And you feel the light bump as its landing gear hits the earth. And Farvo comes back. You about ready to go?
Yeah. Is it always supposed to be that bumpy when we come in?
That was a perfect landing. It wasn't bumpy at all.
Oh, okay. Then, wait. So, okay, sure. If that's a perfect landing, okay, that's good to know. I don't know. This being my first time out, I think that was that was a great landing. We landed. That must be perfect because we're still alive.
I did just fine. He goes off and grabs his jacket. I just got to pay some fees and we can be on our way.
You have to pay them fees?
I'm using their space for my ship.
Well,
so yeah.
Your ship's bigger than their space. Why don't you just tell them that this is where you're parking? And if you don't let them, you're going to sick your Rancor on them.
Doesn't quite work like that out here. And really most of the galaxy.
Oh.
You've got to work with the people, not against the people.
Oh.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, we'll see if it makes sense. How do you determine something's worth? By how strong and how powerful they are?
Not necessarily. Everything's got value. It's hard to tell what something's truly worth, but I don't know. People name their own prices. I don't expect to have to pay very much to park here.
Is this not a good spot then? Is there a better spot that we would pay more for something more better?
We're talking about worth again.
Uh-huh.
And this planet, Dantooine, it's got tons of worth. It's a beautiful place. Just wait until we get out there. But we're in the middle of nowhere as far as the galaxy. If we went to, say, Coruscant, things would be a little bit more expensive. Just because people want to go there. People go there to do things. All sorts of things, really.
Huh. But there's tons of things here. Things aren't eating us.
That's true.
The sun's not too hot, I think. It's not registering as scorching. Okay.
As the two of you are talking, he's packing up some supplies on the back of that swoop that you mentioned earlier. And he opens the ramp down into the landing bay. He walks over to a tap and fills this shiny metal canteen and says to Mir, everything has its value. Turns out this stuff's worth a lot more than a lot of other things. So I think I'm not going to have to pay too much here.
Oh.
Someday I'll teach you how to make it.
Ooh, I like that idea. We'll discuss this more. I will log it into my log. I'm learning how to do logs now. I have a whole list in here of things that I want to look at and see and do and feel. I'm working on feeling textures and stuff like that.
Well, that's great. This stuff, and he twists a cap on the canteen. Named it after my first Tuca. Call it Sparky Juice.
I love it. Sparky Juice. I really like the sound of that. I will learn how to make it. I will learn how to make it as well as you. Let's see if it's as valuable as you think it is. I hope so, because it has a really nice name.
He walks down the ramp, and you see him speaking with somebody a little bit shorter than he is and a lot hairier. You've gotten used to Farvo wearing what he calls clothes. This person has no clothes. They've got sort of grayish, bluish fur. They're holding a piece of equipment, and you see the two of them shake hands, and Farvo gives them the canteen and calls up the ramp. All right, come on. Let's get a move on.
I think here I would like him to have like a little internal log with the clicking sounds. Like, questions to ask later. Why do some creatures wear fur and other creatures wear clothes? Is one naked and the other one not? Does fur make clothes? Or does that mean he's naked? Questions. So many questions. Clothes. What are clothes? Why? And I can see him sending a data thing over to Farvo. Eventually, once he gets that up and running.
With all his questions.
Oh, yeah. My daily question log.
Let's do a little screen wipe as Amir is coming up with his questions, and we hear his internal monologue. We see Farvo and this blue hairy person shaking hands, and there's a screen wipe And then we see Farvo on his, you said it was red?
Yeah.
His shiny red swoop, zooming through the tall grasses of Dantooine. Where is Mir on the swoop? As they're going super fast. I don't think Mir's repulsors at this point could follow. Is he like tucked into a side pocket, or is he just sort of on the seat behind him?
I want to be. I was thinking like dangly dice off the old, like he's got himself like a little hook that he has up on the windshield.
Okay.
Or maybe a suction cup, stuck there, and so he's kind of floating and wow kind of deal,
It's like Luke on Tatooine on the land speeder. It's like one of those 10-second shots. We just see the swoop moving across the screen, and we hear Mir going, "Whoa!"
I love it. Yeah.
And then there's another screen wipe, and the two of them are in the mountains.
Note to self: must replace suction cup with better adhesive. I imagine him flying off and having to swoop back and pick him up. And
yeah, Mir's got a new dent.
I'll buff that out later.
So they've parked the swoop. It's pretty mountainous here, big rocks, and there's some pretty tall trees. And the two of you find yourself trekking through a piney forest on the side of this mountain. Farvo says, "Now I haven't told you too much about myself. You've kind of, I know a good bit about you now, and where you come from, but so." He sort of closes his eyes and puts his hand out ahead of him and closes it, and he points a finger ahead of where you're walking. Now you can do something that I can't. You can move when I found you, you're moving those rocks, and you made that version of me. You've got a strong connection to the Force. I've got a little connection to the Force myself. Person like me, they call me a finder. You can move things around with the Force. I can feel strong objects, things that are connected to the Force in ways that people usually aren't connected to the Force. Now you're interesting because you're a person, but you're not organic like myself. You access the Force in a different fashion than a lot of the people that I've met, and the Force guided me to you. Now, it guided me to another individual like you at one point in time.
Oh.
And that's where we're going.
You mean more like me? Like shard? Like rock? Like...
Yeah, we're going to meet another shard.
Do I look presentable? What are they like? What are their aspects? What are their powers? Do they have powers? Are they like you? Are they like me? Are they...
Well, to be honest, the first time I interacted with them, they threw a large rock at me.
Oh, I won't let that happen.
I thank you for that.
Do I?
I was hoping.
He starts wanting to start lifting up a tree. No, no, your brother. I'll protect you. No, nobody hurts brothers. I'll go Rancor on them.
No need for that. I just, if I thought that if I brought you, maybe the two of you would get along. I could tell. I can't quite get emotions like some of those Jedi Knights can, but I could tell that he was lonely. And I thought if I brought you along, maybe you'd want to come with us.
I know loneliness. I know. Yes. Let's go see if he will be a brother.
The two of you continue walking. Well, he continues walking. Yeah. You continue floating. You move along at a reasonable pace. He's fit. He's we haven't really described him. You want to tell me what he looks like? You had sort of an idea for him. I think I made him a little bit younger than than what you were thinking.
Yeah, so I was thinking I think he's a shorter guy, maybe 5'6" I think he's got big old nice big mustache, dimples, bald, Super nice guy. I think when we were discussing him, I was thinking of a relative dad who I just love this guy, and he's always working with his hands. So he's got a worker's hands, and he's always ready to do something, and always ready to teach, always ready to eat. My type of guy. But he always has a smile, especially when he's dealing with his grandkids. And so I see Farvo as just this loving guy who just wants to bring people together and teach them and love on them. So
That's great. Yeah. And yeah, it's pretty clear that he thought that this individual, this shard who was alone, needed some help, and apparently cared enough to traverse the galaxy twice to help him. The two of you continue along through this forest on the side of a mountain, and you move up past the tree line, and he leads you towards it looks like a path. Do you want to, so you've had a week of access to technology and access to the galaxy beyond Dathomir. Do you want to roll something?
totally.
Maybe a knowledge check? I know all your knowledges are the same, so it can just be a general knowledge check.
Yeah, I'll roll a general knowledge check. Versus?
I've got all these dark side points.
Yes, you do.
I do. So I'm flipping a dark side point to make it purple and a red.
All right. Oh, wow. I didn't think I would ask for a setback dice, but can I get a setback and a boost for overload of knowledge? Like,
Yeah.
just plugging in and just going for it.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right. So I got a 3 green, blue and a black, and a red and a purple.
Yep.
All right. That's that, and that's a that. So let's see. Green dice has 2. So that's 1 advantage, 3 advantage. Or the advantages wash out. Your red dice had 2 disadvantage, 2 threats.
Yeah.
So they wash out, and I'm left with 1 success.
1 success.
I know.
You're walking along this path, and you see ancient stairs going off in different directions, and some statues of figures in robes, and they look like Jedi. You encountered Jedi on your various searches, probably because Farvo mentioned the Force, and you looked into the Force pretty heavily. But they look like statues of ancient Jedi with lightsabers.
Yeah. Ooh. Are these like the Jedi, the Hedi, the Hedi, the Jedi? Yeah, you said Jedi. Are
Jedi.
These like?
Yeah.
Are they stone people? No, they're not stone people.
Nope, the Jedi are not generally stone people. Most of them are organic.
So these are statues. Okay, these are just statues. These are just
statues. Yep.
Are we going to go meet some Jedi?
Nope. The Jedi haven't been here in a long time. There used to be an enclave in this area, sort of an ancient temple where they used to come and gather. But this planet, more people have forgotten about this planet than know about it these days.
Oh, ancient temple. I'll protect you. Don't worry. Are there ancient spirits here that will yell at you and throw things at you here too?
No. Have you run into ancient spirits before?
There are no creatures that are going to eat you here.
Probably not. This place is
but it's an
pretty
ancient,
quiet.
But it's an ancient tomb. Usually there are guardians, and usually there are like scary things in there. I've approached a couple of them and ran away, rolled away. I was more rolling than flying away.
I haven't encountered anything like that here. Just the shard who threw a giant rock at me, and we should be coming up on him pretty soon.
Oh, so
at least last time I saw him, he was around here.
Oh, so there is a guardian. Okay, he would be the guardian.
If you say so.
Oh, did you bring like homage, like an offering? Wait, am I the offering? Oh, I'm not the offering, am I?
Extent, I'm hoping you're going to help me with him, but wasn't planning on sacrificing you, if that's what you're thinking.
Oh, good. Okay. I'm okay with this. We're okay. I'm okay with this. Yeah, we can do this.
As the two of you move along, you spot a large open space in the side of this mountain. It has some statues flanking it on either side, and it's just large and open and looks neglected. There are plants growing up. It looks like some of the places that the Knight brothers and sisters occupied. The stones are shaped and formed by hands and by tools, and weeds are growing up between the stones on the ground right now. And Farva says he's just through here. You ready?
Oh, absolutely. They really should take out those weeds before they get in the rocks and crack them. They're going to grow into really big thorns and start breaking and being abrasive.
That's true. Too bad nobody comes here anymore.
But it has such a view.
It does. And the two of you turn around and you can see the wide plains below you. And you can see some hairy animals in the distance grazing on them. And even further in the distance, that tiered city that you landed in.
I could live here. This is a nice spot.
And the two of you turn back around and head into this ancient space. Thanks for listening to another episode of Coruscant Nights. Coruscant Nights is a production of Nightcast Creative. To find out more about us and the things we make, visit nightcastcreative.com. Thanks to AJ for playing on these episodes. You can find AJ's art on Instagram at AJ_Kimball, and you can hear more of him on the current season of The Other Place. Don't forget that you can affect the fate of our players on Coruscant Nights with Donate for Destiny. Donations go to Child's Play Charity, which provides toys and games for kids in hospitals and shelters. Find out more at nightcastcreative.com/destiny. Now stay tuned for a preview from one of our new friends in the Star Wars podcast community, Tales from the Rusty Speeder.
Tales from the Rusty Speeder. This is an interactive Star Wars actual play podcast using the Edge of the Empire rules from Fantasy Flight Games. Join our misfit crew of scoundrels, ne'er-do-wells, rascals, miscreants, lowlifes, good-for-nothing reprobates as they find love, purpose, and the courage to carry on. I'm joking, none of that happens. Instead, they use their questionable contacts and unconventional methods to get the job done, whatever job happens to be paying today. Tales from the Rusty Speeder, available wherever you get your podcast and streamed live on Twitch at twitch.tv/technofunkboy.